Hello and welcome to my Fallout 3. Very loud there. Um, my Fallout 3 tutorial for you. It's my first go at doing this kind of thing, so I feel pretty confident. Should go pretty well. Should be a lot of fun to do. I've done a lot of stuff already. I've already gone through all the intro stuff. I think you probably remember it from your first time going through setting up your character, doing the name, doing all that stuff. I chose not to film that and talk about it because I feel like it's pretty straightforward, and answers come pretty easily on that. Like if you didn't understand something, you could text or call me and I could easily answer it for you pretty quick. I feel like the gameplay part might be where it gets a little overwhelming. You know, again, we talked about the whole large open world can do anything sometimes is too much of a good thing because it's kind of like, well, what do I do now? You know, this and that, and then I've got these new mechanics on top of all that, so it can get a little daunting. So that's why I wanted to start as I'm leaving the vault, which is what I'm getting ready to do here. As you see this wooden door in front of me that you'll come up on after you complete the probably half hour, 45 minutes of the little intro, you kind of grow up in the vault and you get the story going. Don't want to say a whole lot because it kind of pulls some of the story to the front and I want you to experience it. But needless to say, you're leaving Vault 101 in the DC area and going out to get some questions answered and kind of live your life in the wastes, which I can tell you right now is absolutely incredibly fun. But before you leave, as you see here, it gives you any last chance. If something you didn't like, you know, maybe your name or way you looked or your special, that's all your skills. It's strength, perception. What is he? Endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. So it spells special. All of those, just like every other game we've played that has any kind of a trait system, it affects, you know, all kinds of different stuff, lots of stuff, and I'll go over that a little bit as we get out. And then your tag skills. You start with 3 tag skills. Those are specialties that you choose right off the bat. That you get a pretty significant bonus to those skills right off the bat. I think for mine, I think I've done small guns, medicine, and possibly speech. I think those are the 3 I went with. And again, I'll pull that up and we'll go over it real quick. But the cool thing is you know, you're not stuck. Like if you go, crap, I didn't spell that right, or maybe I do want to bump up my strength or something. Before you leave into the game for kind of ever, it gives you one last chance here. Do note, I'm playing this on the PC and just using keyboard and mouse. The keys or the controls on the Xbox are really easy. They're mappable. They're really standard. I mean, we've played so many first-person shooters, they're going to probably feel pretty common to you. And you've picked all those up without any issues or problems over an hour or so. Next thing you know, you got it down flat. So not too worried about you learning that. So let's get in here. We're going to exit. My load times are going to be quite a bit faster, only because I'm running with a PC, which is going to have a lot more computing power than the Xbox 360 will. So, welcome to the DC area. Pretty cool lighting effect there. First time your eyes have ever seen the sun. So, pretty sweet how, you know, it kind of fades in on you. And yeah, pretty awesome. So, I just leveled up after all the stuff I did inside the vault. Same thing, again, you're going to hear this a lot, but I'm kind of trying to emphasize just how similar to other games that this is, so it probably doesn't feel as daunting, because it'll seem like something you've seen before. So you level up with experience. You get experience by completing quests, Sometimes you get it by finding areas, just like you did in Borderlands. When you found somewhere new, it'll tell you the name of it, come up on the screen, and it'll give you a little indicator that you got some experience for finding it. Obviously, killing stuff, obviously. Discovering stuff, like hidden treasures and stuff, or like a hidden wall or something, you're going to get XP for that. Hacking computers, all kinds of stuff. And anytime you get it, you'll see a little indicator, and you'll hear like a little register ring. It'll go cha-ching. Anytime you hear that, that's telling you that you got some amount of XP, and it'll show up in the lower right corner as a quick kind of fade in, fade out. That's how this game delivers messages. Is it'll put the message on the screen and then it'll fade it out. I think that's how long that takes is adjustable in your settings. If not, just you'll start picking it up. You'll see it. You'll start learning where stuff pops up on the screen. And again, just like Borderlands, Borderlands does the exact same thing. Anyway, I'm level 2 here. So I've got 16 skill points, as you can see right here. 16 skill points that I can allocate how I see fit. This game's really great, I think, at kind of breaking down what all the skills are. So you know, it's not like a, well, does that really affect this or does it not? You know, is it worth putting points into? Because I think it spells it out pretty damn well, and so you see a definite cause and effect. So anyways, I'm not going to go through all of them because again, they have pretty good breakdowns of what they do. I like barter. I think it's a good one to have because obviously you're going to be buying and selling shit a lot and trading with people a lot. So I like to put some points in there. Big guns is pretty cool if you want to go down that route. Again, I would put your points toward kind of how you like to play. If you want to be a sneaky, quiet guy, you know, you're going to want to go with lockpick, you know, maybe melee and small guns and sneak, you know, and unarmed, you know, those kind of things. If you want to be a sneaky guy, quick on your feet, maybe can't carry a ton, but, you know, can strike out of the shadows. But if you just want to be a guns blazing badass, you can do that too. Really like the fact that you can do that in this, and your points will obviously dictate that. Higher your points, the more efficient you are with whatever that is. So in this case, like big guns, if you bump this up real high, I think it caps at 80, maybe 100. You're going to have, you know, obviously a great increase at critical hits, just making any hit, and better damage, and all that kind of stuff. Just because you don't have a very high skill doesn't mean you cannot use an item. Although some items do require a certain set level to be worn or used or whatever, it's going to tell you in your inventory, just like any other game. If you just don't quite have what the game deems to be enough of a skill level in that item, it will let you know. And you won't be able to use it, but it'll tell you where you need to get to use it. Those are pretty rare. So, big guns, pretty much as they sound. You know, missile launcher. The Fat Man is kind of what it sounds like. It is a portable mini nuclear launcher, which is pretty badass. I personally don't do a lot with big guns. The Gatling laser is really sweet. The minigun's really sweet. And you'll find those, and they're pretty sweet. Like I just said a lot. But they're not really my bag. But I'll put a few points into big guns, usually later on, after I've kind of fleshed out my other needs better. I kind of start getting points that I feel like are a little more expendable. I'll start bumping into big guns because those mini guns are really nice. Energy weapons, exactly like it sounds. Again, you're not going to run into this stuff too much early on. A little bit, but not a ton. Yeah, so there's that. Explosives, you know, if you want to be really good with throwing grenades and setting mines and stuff, which can be pretty devastating if it's done right. You can go there. I rarely go much into explosives. I'll use the occasional grenade. I've never been one to really set mines or build mines. Not because they're not cool, it's just not something that crosses my head to do. Lockpick, that's a big one. Definitely going to throw some points in here. You're going to come across a lot of locked stuff. Locked doors, locked boxes, locked lockers, locked cars, all kinds of stuff. It's nice to have that because the mechanic you'll probably remember, and again, we're going to go over it, is the kind of twisting the two sticks in harmony to, you'll see the little bobby pin that you're using the lockpick with start to quiver, and if it's quivering too much, it'll break if you try to force it. Otherwise, if you get a nice smooth move, the lock will move at the perfect position of the bobby pin, and it'll just slide and go right out. So it's pretty cool, and again, we'll go over that. Medicine, I like that one because you're always going to want to heal yourself. Stim packs, that's what they use in the game to heal primarily, although there's lots of other stuff you can eat and drink that'll also help you. And Rad-X and Rad-Away, obviously you're in a post-nuclear place, so there's a lot of radiation out there. Some of it's kind of low level, which you can flush out or even just run through and not have to worry about too much. Others of it is real high dose that you're going to need a suit and a bunch of Rad-Away and Rad-X. Rad-X will give you some immunity to the radiation. You still get it, but in lower doses. And then the Rad-Away, literally, as it sounds, it just flushes it out of you. So medicine for me is a pretty big one. And as you can see, it's already got a 42. Small guns is already a 32, and speech is already 30. Those are because those were the three skills that I tagged as my primary skills that I wanted to have an instant, not an instant, but an early bump on. So you get three of those, and again, that'll all be very evident, very easy when you're going through the vault and the kind of little intro tutorial, which is what the vault stage, if you want to call it that, is before you head outside. Excuse me. Melee, repair, all these things, science. There's a lot of computers to hack. I like science a lot, figuratively and in reality. So I usually put some there. You're going to come across a lot of terminals that you can hack and open doors, or turn on cameras, or deactivate, or maybe activate bots and that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. I find it very, very useful. Repair, I also find pretty useful. As you use stuff, it's going to break down. Weapons break down, armor breaks down, everything breaks down, but you can repair it. But you do have to have a certain repair skill level to repair an item past a certain point. So I'm just going to throw out like a quickie. So if you have a gun that's 60% good and 40% worn, if your repair level probably is going to need to be like a 35 or like a 40 in order to repair it, because it's 60% good, so it's still pretty usable. Now if it gets down to like 20%, you're probably going to be able to repair it at a lower number, but you'll only be able to repair it up to, say, whatever the cap is for whatever your current repair skill level is. So again, the higher this is, the more you'll be able to repair something, all the way up to and including completely repaired every time. But again, that's going to cost equipment and such to repair. Again, we're going to go over that. So I find repair useful, and I will put some points there. Sneak, it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. It can get you out of a lot of sticky situations. Especially if you're in a place that's kind of small and confined and you're maybe a little overpowered or overnumbered. It's pretty sweet, and yes, you can do, as you can read right there, successful attacking while in the sneak mode. It does grant an automatic critical hit, which is pretty big. That's a lot of damage. So, this is a lot like, for me, for as big guns is. I'll put points into it. Not necessarily right off the bat, because early on, at least the way that I like to go, I'm going to be wanting to kind of, get myself going and equipped. And I feel like If I have my small guns, which is like rifles, good old assault rifles and combat shotties and that kind of thing, I can do a pretty good. I can get off to a pretty good start just with a good old assault rifle. I mean, you can do headshots, medium range, close range if you really need to, but that's why you got your shotty. And I can build myself up, I feel, pretty efficiently just with small guns. In fact, let's pop a couple points in there. I'm a 5 and 0 guy. I don't know what it is, but I really like 5s and 0s. Can't always do it, but that seems to be what I do. Anyway, so then later on, when I get to be a little stronger, sneak, I can again bump some points in there because it does come in helpful later in the game. But it's also great right off the bat. So if you really want to go sneaky, I would say put them in early, and you're going to find that it's going to work. Nothing's really going to break you, I don't think. I don't think you're going to make a ruined character per se by putting a number of points in the wrong place. They may just not be relevant early, or they may not be relevant later. Kind of depends, right? So that's kind of up to you, but there are no bad choices, at least not in my opinion. Speech, that's a big one. You talk to a lot of people in this game, and your speech level can help you. It'll give you if you want to like try to persuade or lie or intimidate or these other things, it'll sometimes give you the option to do so. And that's going to be based off of your speech. And the better you are at speaking, the better chance that you might get your wanted outcome. Which can be nice. Sometimes you can completely avoid a whole fight just by scaring the living crap out of some guy, or schmoozing somebody, or get some information you wouldn't have gotten otherwise by lying or being whatever. So speech is kind of nice. I like to use it. And then unarmed is exactly what it sounds like. How well you're gonna throw those knucks around. I don't put any points into unarmed. I rarely ever find myself at a point where I have no weapons. But I'll tell you, if you really wanted to bump that up, I've always thought this. If you really wanted to be able to carry a lot of loot, and equipment, and not necessarily have it all be weapons, but have it be other stuff, if you could really bang this up high, you're always going to be close quarters, of course. But if you get that power fist, this power fist thing right here, dang, come on. Anyways, power fist is really, really strong, and it's super, super powerful. It's a power fist, right? But it's like a glove that's got like an energy in it, and when you punch, it really does a lot of damage. So you can actually really be a pretty badass with just high unarmed. So that's something to consider if that's the route you want to go. Looks like I have one more point. So let's get barter to 19. And then, again, you're going to have different controls. You're going to have it's going to tell you X or A or B or whatever right here. So mine's R and A because that's the keyboard. But whatever you need to do on your controller, again, X and A are always big ones. And B is almost always back. So it's no different than in any other game. So there's that. Okay, now we're on to a perk. So you have your specials, which is, again, those are your kind of attributes, your personal attributes. You have your skills, which we just went over, and then you have perks, which are specializations that give you bonuses over kind of a broad area. And you get perks, oh man, every 3 or maybe every 5 levels. But you don't get them all the time. You get them here and there. You can also find books and magazines in the world, and when you read them, it'll let you have a perk. So, yeah, it's pretty sweet. Perks are pretty nice because they, like I said, they kind of are like an overseeing. They boost up certain parts of you, like 2 or 3 parts sometimes, all at once. So, and as we'll see, there's a whole huge list of perks here. As you can see, it's huge. But you have to meet certain criteria before you can get a perk. So see, these are all light green and they're all lit up. These are active right now because we meet whatever criteria that perk needs. And then these ones that are dark, you don't. But you'll look over here. It'll tell you what it requires. So it requires level 4 and a charisma of 4. And there is, tells you how many ranks of that you currently have. And again, it's going to break down what it does for you here. So it's pretty nice. This game's really good about that. Um, so I like to go with either intense training or swift learner. Um, intense training, as you can see, you put a single point into any of your special attributes, which is nice because any one of those specials, so like strength, which is S, isn't it determines numerous things. It determines your melee attack damage. It determines your carry weight, as well as some other things less. But those are two big things. So they're really important because they affect so many other things by one thing, if that makes any sense. So being able to bump those up by whole point, increments is pretty nice. I almost always end up going with Swift Learner though. So with each rank in Swift Learner, you gain additional 10% of total XP or experience points whenever points are earned. That's pretty big, actually. I mean, you might only get 2 or 3 points sometimes, but 2.2 or 2.3, or it probably rounds up even. That starts to add up when you start killing hundreds of things. So I like to do Swift Learner, and again, you're going to be able to come back in here and pick more perks as you go. So you can always come back and get Intense Training or Gun Nut if that's where you want to go, or any of these other ones. So it's not like you're stuck if you're never going to be able to go back and get another perk. You will get them. So we're going to go with Swift Learner right now. And there we go. So you see that little flash up upper left corner there? Quest added, following in his footsteps. So that's how the game operates. That's how it tells you messages. And you'll get stuff in that kind of upper left corner and in the lower right corner. I think those are the only places you get pop-ups. Excuse me. So, quick overview here. This is first-person mode. You can play in third person if you want. As you can see, you can play in third, which is kind of nice to be able to see everything around you. So if you find that to be easier, like be able to see baddies behind you easier and such, I'd say play it in that way. I like first-person mode. It just feels more immersive, and feels more natural, I guess. I play all my first-person shooters in this mode, so it feels like very comfortable. Let's go over the HUD here. Lower left corner, HP, as you'll see, with a bunch of kind of green hashes underneath it. It's exactly what it probably, you already know what it is. That's your hit points, which is your life. And you'll notice there's a little kind of a carrot, if you will, on your bar. That's your max. You'll see I'm actually a little bit hurt. I'm missing about 3 or 4 bars there. And you see I'm green, and I'm pretty full, so I'm pretty darn healthy. As you get further down, it'll turn, I think, orange and then red, and it'll let you know that you're definitely hurting. I think you get a heartbeat sound when you start getting close to death. Again, it's kind of a, hey, you might want to heal. And you'll get blood screen and like the tunnel vision when it starts getting a little desperate. And that's when you're going to want to get in and take a stim pack or any other way to heal, and or maybe just run. Or all of those. Just below that is your compass. So as you see, it is oriented to your line of sight. So we are currently facing, we'll call that east-southeast. So that's pretty helpful, and there's some little markers, as you can see, and we'll go over those. So this big guy, the big flashy one here, underneath my little triangle pointer on my compass, which never moves. The compass moves around it, of course. You'll see it's flashing, and it's flashing fairly slowly. Those are quest markers. Sometimes you'll have multiple on your screen, but anytime you have an active quest, and we're going to go over all that, you're going to see one of those, at least one of those, on your compass. There might be 1 or 2 really special one-off quests that it's like you don't know where something is, so you have to go kind of find it. So it may not have a carrot, but I'm not even sure about that. It might. They all might. But some of them are going to have multiples. Maybe there's multiple people you need to speak with, or multiple things to pick up in multiple places. But you're always going to have at least one, as far as I know, except for maybe those one or two one-offs, and I'm not even positive on those. So it's flashing slowly. That means it's farther away. Closer you get toward it, the faster it's going to blink. One thing you don't have an up-down. So if it's, it's not going to tell you if you're in a building, if it's above you or below you. That can be a little bit tough because, you know you're close. But just keep that in mind. If you scoured floor 1 and you haven't triggered whatever you needed to trigger to satisfy the next quest piece, go up, go down, look for a switch, those kind of things. But it can get a little bit frustrating at times because you think you're there and it turns out that you're not. But don't let it stop you. Just there will be a ladder, there'll be some stairs, there'll be something that'll let you go either up or down. But it won't tell you which way that you need to go. Now these are the smaller ones are places. So this one that we're pointed at right now with our pointer on the compass is filled in because we've discovered that area. We know it to be a named place, and we have already found it. This one and this one, which are triangles that are not filled in, you have not discovered. So somehow you know about them. Maybe you picked up a map or something, but you haven't actually been to it, so you haven't discovered it yet. When you discover something, I believe you get 150 XP, which is pretty sweet. And then let's see, quickly to the lower right corner, AP, that's action points. We'll go over that here shortly when I get into a fight. And we use the VATS, V as in Victor, ATS, VATS. It's a combat system. Again, I know you played some of this before, so it's not going to be totally new. But it's like a kind of a turn-based battle system, which I really love. I really love the VATS. It just feels better and more fun. But you can just run and gun in this too. You don't have to go to VATS. You can just draw down, pull your trigger, and keep pulling and hit body parts and aim for legs and stuff on your own. It's just, from what I find, it's way freaking harder than just using the VATS. But it also could be because I haven't done it a lot in this game, so maybe I'm not that good at it, but I could be if I tried. Anyway, that's your action points. Every action costs a certain number of points depending on the action and your skill levels and attributes and all that stuff. And it'll, when we get to that, it'll make more sense. As you can see right now, it's full because, and it automatically replenishes over time. There are drugs you can take and drinks you can drink and other things you can do that buff that up, so that either you use less of it or it replenishes faster. Or in the case of health, you can take things that replenish it instantly. And again, we'll get over that when we start tromping around the world. Lower right corner, you see 12 over 132. That is your current mag inside your current weapon over the total amount of ammo of that type that you have. So right now I have 12 shots in this little pistol I've got. It loaded over 132 total shots available of that ammo type. To the left of that, CND, that's the condition of my currently equipped weapon. So you'll notice that bar is, 90% full. As you see, it's darker green on the very end of it. That's how much wear and tear that's been, that the gun has. So again, this gun is pretty good shape. That's the one we were talking about earlier when we were talking about the repair skill. Right now, if I went in to try to repair this gun, I would not be able to because my skill level just simply is not high enough. In fact, I can show you that real quick here. You pull up your pip. This is your Pip Boy. This is your in-game menu. It does everything. I'll give you a quick overview. Again, you're going to learn this when you do the kind of tutorial part inside the vault. We have 3 buttons down here: status, items, data. You're going to scroll those. I believe it's with the bumpers, or it might be with the flat pad. And again, if it's not, this tutorial doesn't work very well for learning the controls because I'm not doing it with the controller, let me know. It's super easy to do. I can just do a quick overview, another one for you. Anyway, so here's your stats. So a little weirdness is normal. Weirdness meaning it kind of flips and flops sometimes. The screen, that's totally normal. This is kind of trying to make it look real. Here's your stats. It's your condition. That's your overall health. These are all parts of your body and their own condition. Excuse me. So as you can see, my head has a little bit of damage taken to it, but it's still in pretty good shape. I'm smiling. That means I'm in good health and good spirits, if you will. You start getting hurt, or like you break a leg or something, you might turn into a frown. That's going to tell you that you're not feeling well, or if you got like rad poisoning or something. And again, it's going to tell you what you have. All in all, I'm pretty good. You can heal individual limbs by selecting the limb. You see what I just did there? I selected it, and it instantly used one of my stim packs. And now look, my head is completely healed. So if you have a shot up leg, you can just select it, and it'll instantly heal just that piece, or that part, excuse me. So it does also hit your overall health. Just your radiation level, your rad. Here's your total bar right here. 1,000, you're basically dead. We're going to be dying pretty quick. 500 isn't real good. You're going to be taking some damage pretty quick. You want to be obviously close to 0 as possible. My current radiation resistance, rad resist, based on the clothes and meds and everything that I currently have and have taken and whatever, is 10%, which is not real high. You can bump that way up. They actually have radiation suits in the game, and those drugs we talked about, Radaway and Radex. Radex will make you more immune to the radiation, and Radaway will flush it out. So if this was up here, let's say like I had 250 points of radiation just from ingesting bad food, but I had to eat, and I walked through a radioactive area, it would be up here, and it would tell me how many points I had. If I had any of these in my inventory, I could go to the Radaway, select one again. Just the corresponding button is all you need to hit, and it'll flush out so much of it. Excuse me. And the Radex, if you take that, it's going to bump up your immunity. Your rad resist is going to go up. Status effects. So these are things like if you've got a broken leg, or you're concussed, or you have radiation sickness, or you ate some bad food, or whatever else might be illing you. Or on the flip side, if you took some Nuka-Cola and drank it and you're kind of hyped up, or you decided to use some of the illegal drugs in the game that really do give you a big boost, they're going to be right here. So anything positive or negative that's affecting you will be listed here. Here's your special. So this is a breakdown of your current point distribution that you do very early on, and this is again special. Here's your skills. Again, we saw that earlier when I tried to choose the points that I had. This is all of them. Here's my perks. So right now I only have one perk. And general is just kind of your generalized stats. What have you done? Who have you killed? How many things have you killed? Just kind of as you can see, a pretty wide range of things you've done. Yep, corpses eaten. Yep, indeed, you can do it. Just yeah, kind of a fun little counter for things you've done in the world. Over here, see it says good and Vault Martyr. As you make moral choices in the game, you can affect this. And you can be neutral, you can be good, you can be evil, and a bunch of levels in between. Up to the second coming of Jesus, down to, if you will, the second coming of Beelzebub, and you get kind of a title based on that. So and you get a little picture that kind of depicts what you kind of are viewed at in the world. So this is kind of how people will view you. It's kind of like you walk in a room and you're an evil guy and you're pretty evil. People are probably going to know it or sense it, and that's going to affect your conversations. And it not always a bad thing to be evil. I've seen some guys play through and go pretty evil, and you just scare the bejesus out of everybody. So you don't have to do a lot of work sometimes to get the things you want. You just walk in the room, tell them that you want it, and you get it because you're scary as shit. Or vice versa. Sometimes you walk in somewhere as an evil person and they don't want you there. They're gonna take action and kind of kick you out. So, but it's always easy in these games to go be the good guy, be the Boy Scout, and that's not wrong. And you're gonna get perks out of that. People are gonna treat you better and stuff. But there are times, honestly, in the game where it's almost easier if you go the not so straight and narrow path, the lower road, as you will, and you might actually find better success. I just don't know what it is about my moral fabric, but I can't be anything but at least kind of good. I'm always helping out those kids and those homeless people. Part of my nature, right? But I've always wanted to have a guy that I could end up like almost neutral. I always thought that would be very good. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. Along the top, you got your level. So I'm level 2. Your hit points represented by the number. Your action points represented again numerically, and your current experience points. So it's a number over a number. Current number that you have earned over the number to the next level threshold. So I've earned 357. I need to get up to 551 to actually 550, I guess, to click over to the 3rd level and gain another level and the perks and other good stuff that comes along with it. Excuse me, I gotta be careful using the word perks because those really are relevant in this game. Items. This is your inventory, and again, you can tell which menu you're in by looking at the red glowing light on your bottom display here. So I've got 3 10mm pistols, 2 police batons as weapons. In the apparel area here, I've got some sunglasses, and outfits, some armor. So you might ask, why would you carry more than one set of armor of the same? 2 reasons. One, you can sell it because you can see it has a value of 30. I can't use my pointer because it's just gonna go away. Anyway, so you'll see over on the mid right corner there, Val 30. That's the value. You won't get 30 when you go to a person to sell it because they're not going to buy it for full value because they're going to try to turn around and sell it for a profit. So you, depending on your barter skill and your speech skill and how well you're liked, you're going to get a percentage of that. There is nothing that tells you what percentage you will get. I'm sure if you wrote enough of them down, you might start to figure out the percentage. But you'll get some of that 30. But it's a good value, is a good indicator of just how valuable something is. So if it was worth carrying around or is it worth just dropping. A lot of times you'll find most of the stuff in this game I don't even pick up, like forks and knives and scrap crap and all this other stuff. I just don't pick up. It's cool, you can. And if you really want to get anal, you can pick up everything and sell it for like, 1 cap here, 1 cap there. But, really, do you want to? I certainly don't, but you could. Other reason to keep 2 of the same thing is that's how you repair. So as you can see, this indicates right here, this indicates that is currently the equipped item. So I have a security armor and a security helmet. Let's go back real quick here to weapons. Again, you see here the dot indicates that I have a 10mm equipped, and that specific one. And you can see the damage is a 6. Its weight is 3. That's in pounds, and it's valued at 176. Better condition something is, the better value that you'll get for it. Its overall condition, CND. Again, that's the bar. This one's in pretty darn good shape. as we talked about, and then you can see next to that it tells you what kind of ammo it will receive, and if you have any of it, and I do right now. I have 132. I have 12 loaded. If a gun will use, or any weapon use different kinds of ammo, it'll list what it will use there. At least I believe it will, because I know some guns you can, there's armor piercing and there's, you know, hollow point and those kind of things, so you can get pretty specific if you want, and they're better for certain things, you know, whether it's you're going up against a, you know, armored opponent or a soft skinned opponent or whatever. So, and that's all stuff you can figure out. I just want to get you kind of the broad basics here, and then let you jump in and ask questions as they pop. Let's go over the top up here again. Weight, as you can see, WG 63 over 210 right up here. So I'm carrying 63 pounds out of a possible 210. You can go over 210, but then you become encumbered and will walk slower and slower and slower until you just won't move. And you cannot run when you are encumbered. So you get to be going pretty slow. And it's a pretty big world. HP, you know what that is, and 209 out of 230, pretty good shape. DR, that's damage rating. That's basically your armor level. Higher is better. So the more DR you have, the more protected you are, and you get that through primarily armor and clothes, and also you can do, I think there's little things you can drink and eat that'll bump that up, but 99% of it's armor and clothes. Caps, upper right corner here, that's in-game money, which is bottle caps. So everything's bottle caps in the game. There are no different denominations of caps. There's only just caps. So there's not like a $5 cap or a $10 cap. Everything's a single dollar, if you will. And everything's done with caps. You can trade items for items, like you can barter with people, but you're going to be doing it not off of like what they want and what they need versus what you want and what you need. You're going to be doing it off of a cap. So, you know, my hat is worth 3 caps, and you have some food worth 5 caps. Well, I'll give you my hat, excuse me, for your food, but you're still going to want something else worth 2 more caps. And again, that'll come up and be fairly straightforward, and we'll go over that. So apparel, we talked about, same thing. That's your armor. Breaks it down for you here. DR, so this piece of armor gives me a DR of 9. It weighs 15 pounds. It's valued at 32 caps, and it's conditioned, I'd say, at around 60%, which isn't too bad. Now the one just below it, you see the DR is 1 point lower. That's because it's conditioned lower, and it's valued less. It weighs the same though, obviously. And then my helmet, same thing. So I'd always try to wear the one that's in the best condition, because it's going to give you the best protection, and I'd always fire my best conditioned guns because they're going to do the most damage and be the most accurate. And you can repair, so like right now, if I wanted to repair this one with this one, you see for mine it's R, which is repair, so you highlight the item, and then for me I would hit R, and it goes into this little sub-screen here. So see, it breaks it down and adjusts all the like items, all the apples for apples. This is what I'm wearing, and you can see if I were to repair it with this, it would, if I could do it, it would show me the end result. It would show me the condition where it would go, and it would tell me where the DR would go. But I can't, because I need a 33% repair skill, and right now I think I'm around 20. So that's what we were talking about earlier about thresholds. So I can't repair this at its current damage level. So I will just keep that, or maybe, so we're going to cancel. In your case, it'll be B. Back out to the screen. So you can, I might probably just sell this eventually, and then, you know, just wear this until it wears out. Aid, this is what you have on you that in any way, shape, or form affects you health-wise or otherwise. So mentats, as you can see, those are pills. You can take them. The effects are they give you a perception boost of 5, which is huge, and an intelligence boost of 5, which is pretty significant. I shouldn't say huge on the perception, but that's a pretty significant jump. Why that's useful. So let's say like you've chosen to not really put any points into science or computer hacking or anything, and you come up onto a computer screen, you have to hack. It's just the easiest way to do it, but you just can't because you don't quite have it. You just don't meet the thresholds. Well, let's say like you're close, like you're off by 3 perception, or yeah, 3 PER. Well, you pop a mentat, all of a sudden now you're +5, at least for a short while. Well, now you've got a boost, and now you can hack it because you've raised your whatever you needed to raise with that particular, in this case, drug to meet the need. So that's how those work. A lot of these drugs that you can buff out with and make yourself better, you can become addicted to. And when you become addicted to it, you gotta have it. Otherwise, you start getting withdrawals, and that'll actually affect you. It'll make you sick. It'll drop your health down a little bit. Makes you sluggish. Has all kinds of side effects. So of course, you gotta ask yourself: is it really worth it? Well, sometimes it really is. Some of these are really powerful things, and they can really make you a lot stronger, especially for a short time if you're going up against a big boss. But you got to ask yourself, am I willing to take the side effects? And you can go see doctors, and for a pretty good fee, they will actually cure you of your addiction. So there is that too. Purified water. As you can see, its effect is +20 for hit points, and you'll notice that it's clean. It doesn't have any rad level to it. A lot of water out in the world, you can drink it, and it'll help you. It'll give you, 8 or 10 HP, but it's going to give you 4 or 5 rad too. So, in a little bit, it's not going to hurt you, but you keep drinking it without flushing it out or anything, and next thing you know, you're up at a sick level of radiation. And might I point out real quick, up here on your pip, this is your Geiger counter. And you're going to hear it, just like you would any regular Geiger. As you get close to stuff, you'll start seeing that start bouncing around pretty good and getting loud. But you can get an actual amount reading per 100 what you're kind of being exposed to right up here. So anyway, back down here. Food's important because, again, it's going to give you health back. Here's a great example of some kind of dirty food. So the rad roach meat will give you +5 in HP, but it's going to +2 in rads. So again, if I'm in a little bit of a desperate need, I'm not going to care about those rads because I can take care of those later. If I'm dead, it won't matter what my rads are, right? So I'm going to go ahead and sometimes eat some dirty food or drink some dirty water to get myself at least workable healthy at the expense of rads, and I'll flush those out later or take care of them later. Stim packs, these are great, staple of any shooter game, right? And they are exactly what they are. You can use them to heal specific body parts like you saw me do earlier, or you can just use them out in the field, on the run, give yourself a stab with a quick button press that you can set up, and you're going to get instant health, in this case 55 points. You can also make super stim packs. They're out there. They cost more, and they give a pretty good boost. They're up to like around 100, I think, HP. And if you're not sure, again, look at what the effect is, and it'll tell you exactly how it's going to affect you. You can drink vodka. Sometimes, if you're going to go into a town and maybe you didn't put any points into your charisma, so people kind of think you're an ass. Hey, why not have a bottle or two before you cruise into town? Your charisma goes up, intelligence goes down, but you're not really going to be hacking any computers or anything of that kind of stuff, so you don't really need intelligence, and your strength goes up. So in case someone wants to get up in your grill and start a little something, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do that. I got a bottle of courage in me. Okay, on to miscellaneous. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's just random here and there stuff. Some of it's useful, some of it's not. So the bobbleheads, you'll find bobbleheads throughout the world. I think there's 20 or 30 of them, and they're super hard to find and rare, and you get perks off of them and stuff like that. They're pretty cool. They're pretty obvious. If you see a bobblehead, it's like it's the guy with the kind of big, blonde hair, smiley face, and the fault jumpsuit on. it's just sitting there and it looks like a little tiny doll. Pick it up and you'll get the perk for it. Bobby pins are used for lock picking, so the more the merrier, the better. And then this is where you're going to be having all the shit you pick up throughout the game. And again, I stress, at least for my playstyle, I don't pick up very much excess crap unless it has a good value to it. Pre-war money, for whatever odd reason, it's worth 10. So it's got a decent little value to it, and it weighs nothing, which is interesting. But, you know, the game makers decided to not give it any weight. So it's like, why not carry it around? I mean, it's not going to weigh anything. Scrap metal, that's the opposite. So it weighs a pound, which is kind of a lot. I mean, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not. But you start adding up 10 or 15 of them, and you've taken up a pretty good chunk of your, you know, available weight. And it's only worth 1. So what's the point of carrying that, right? And then the key ring, that's automatic. That's just any keys you find throughout the game, it's going to put them on a key ring. You click on it and it'll tell you what keys that you have. So as you can see, I found the office key for the overseers, and you'll find that on your own when you go in. So we're going to hit B and go back here, and then ammo. This is what ammo you're carrying. So right now I'm only carrying 10mm rounds, and I have 144 total of them. And again, if you looked at your gun and it was 12 over 132, add it up to a total of 144 shots, because I got 12 in the gun and 132 in my pocket. Okay, now we're going to go to data. There we are. Next little button on your Pip-Boy. Oh, by the way, any of these screens that you go to, you're always going to see that it'll take you back to where you left off. Like, it doesn't reset back to the far left or anything like that. It's just wherever you left. So a lot of times I want to know my status a lot. So before I leave my Pip-Boy, I reset it to that, because that's where I like it. I like it on weapons. That's just how I roll. And then now we're going to talk about data. So we have local map, world map, quests, notes, and radio. Local map is exactly what it sounds like. As you can see, I have a little cursor here. If I go over something that's, you know, green on the screen, it's going to tell me what it is. You can scroll in and out, or zoom in and out, I should say. As you can see, there's hardly anything on here because I haven't walked anywhere. This will fill in as you walk places. So you kind of let the fog of war, as they say. You haven't seen it, so it doesn't put it on the map. But you notice over here, oh, nope, sorry. You can set your own markers as well. And as you can see over here, we have that caret kind of pulsating. That's our next mission objective. That's where I need to go. So it, you know, it tells you right where you need to go, and it tells you right where you are with the triangle. There you are. So you can see we are currently right at the 101 vault entrance. So that's where we need to go. Now you could set a waypoint here if you wanted, and it'll draw. So yes. Now you can't see it because I haven't walked, but when you discover the map, they'll have a little dotted line. It'll show you kind of the path that you need to take in order to reach your destination, because you can't always just walk directly to things. Sometimes there's, you know, chasms in the way or other problems. You just can't get to it directly. But this is your local map, which is a pretty, you know, small area map. So here's your world map. So I'm going to scroll out. So this is the world as we know it in the area of DC and such. Pretty big, pretty big. And again, here's that dotted line that I was talking about. So here's where we are. Here's where we need to go by this flashing area. So we, you know, it's not that far. But again, this is going to get really populated. As you start finding things, you're going to find a lot of little blips like this. Like the little 101 blip there, you're going to have a ton of those on here. And you can fast travel. Once you have been to a place, you can fast travel to it from this map. You just click on it, and it'll give you the option to fast travel. It'll tell you which key, and then you can say yes, and you can go right to it. So you don't always have to walk everywhere. I like to play where I walk everywhere. Just feels more real. I see more cool stuff. I discover cool stuff. you meet more people, you do more side quests. For me, it's just how I like to play. But, you know, maybe it's the end of the night, you want to go to bed, but you want to go back to wherever you're calling home, then you can do that on a, you know, quick travel. Exactly like Borderlands. Exact same kind of a system. So, quests. Again, same as Borderlands. We have a listing here of all of our current and completed quests. So as you can see, escape and future imperfect, growing up fast, and baby steps. I've already completed those, and the reason I know that is they're all dark. And you'll notice to the right, or half of the screen, all my little bullet points have all been filled in. So baby steps, I had to follow Dad, which I did. Look at your special book, I did. Exit the playpen, I did. Open the playpen's gate, I did. And I had to walk to Dad. I satisfied all those, so therefore I completed the quest. So let's look at our current one. So the current one is always the one that has the lit bullet point next to it. So in this case, following in his footsteps. And you'll notice on the other half of the screen, now I have an unfilled bullet point next to investigate the nearby town for Megaton for information about Dad, because I haven't done it yet, so it's not filled in. And some of these will be broken down into like optional, and it'll say next to it, it'll have parentheses and say optional next to it as part of the quest. So you're not always going to fill in every single one of these for every single quest. Some of them like maybe branch off. Like you can choose to go one side, or you can choose to go the other side, or you can choose to help one person or choose to help the other, but you can't help both. So you're going to have some of these quests that because you chose to go A, you didn't help B, you're never going to fulfill B's part of the quest breakdown, if that makes sense. I hope I didn't over complicate that, but you're probably following. Back down to the bottom here, notes. So anything you find along the way, whether it's, you know, anything that needs to be, the game deems to be noteworthy, it's going to put it in here. Some of these are audio, which is kind of cool. You can listen to people talk, and you can actually activate it from here.
Hold on, Jonas.
Let's see.
I need to record this first.
That's my dad talking. You can play that back out of your Pip-Boy and keep walking, and you can still hear the audio. So it's kind of cool. Other ones are just like this. They're just written, and you can scroll through, read what it says. A lot of these are just kind of flesh out the story, make the game seem more real, but some of them have some real good information in them, like passwords or passcodes or places to go and that kind of thing. So it is worth, I think, when you get a note, and it'll tell you if it'll say note added on your screen when you have ever added a note. I think it's worth checking them out. Like here's one. The password is Amada, but you know, I knew that because I came in here and looked at my notes. There's radio in game. You can tune into different radio stations. As you discover them, your list will grow. Ones that you can pick up are highlighted. So, as you can hear, I am tuned into Enclave Radio. Well, I'm not going to listen to it right now, but you can. You can also tune into other ones as they become highlighted like this. Or not highlighted, but light. If it's dark colored, that means you're just out of signal range. Like, see, I can put it on, it doesn't even try to do anything. I don't want to ruin it too much, but you will be walking along, and sometimes you'll get an indicator that you have picked up a weak signal. So I would come in here and find the weak signal list, click on it, and then walk until it starts to kind of come into focus, if you will, sound focus. And you might discover some pretty cool stuff. So, real quick, this is your in-game date and time. So it's the 8th month, 17th day of the 77th year at 17:39. That's obviously in-game time. It's not real time. So you can kind of get a good idea of when the sun's going down and that kind of thing, and where you currently are standing. So right now I'm just in the Capital Wasteland. Okay, that is your Pip-Boy. And we are almost an hour in. So I apologize. Watch this in chunks if you need to. But let's cruise toward our first objective. And again, at this point, right now, this game is 100% open. Yes, if you want to drive the story, yes, you have to go to these different waypoints and you have to satisfy the needs of the quest to move the story along. But right now, as we speak, you don't have to. Right now, you can do whatever the heck you want. If you just want to start walking around and finding stuff and killing shit, talking to people and whatever else you want to do, oh, there you go. Galaxy News Radio, signal found. I don't know if you saw that in the upper left corner, but it popped up real briefly. So now if I were to go into here and go to radio, see, I could. There's a radio station. It's not coming in very well right now, or there's nothing being broadcast on it. But that was perfect timing on showing what you can see in the game. But at this point, it's completely open. It's whatever you want to do. Obviously, the game's going to be more enjoyable. Just pushing the quest line along. I find it the most fun to be a mix. I will push the quest line along for like a little while and get further into the story, but there's other times I just want to walk around. I just feel like getting into the world, forgetting my real life for a little while, de-stressing, whatever you want to call it, and just playing, just jacking around and having fun. And you can do that. So just keep that in mind. But if you start feeling lost or not sure what to do, just find that next quest and go and do it, and it'll drive you to the next piece. So as you can see, so that water there is radioactive, as you found when I walked into it. And see upper right corner, I'm gaining 1 rad a second. I can drink it though, if I needed to. If I was in desperate shape and I really needed to get some health, I could drink that water. So let's go check something here. Let's go back to our status, and let's go to rad. So as you see, I now have 4 rads currently cruising around through my body, or a 4 level, or whatever you want to call it, of rads. It's not doing anything to me, as we can see by effects. It's not affecting me in any way, shape, or form. Not hurting me, not helping me, nothing. It's just there. But of course now I've set up, I'm already 4 rads in toward becoming sick. So I do gotta be kind of careful. And you heard the Geiger. As you get close to something, it's gonna start going. So it's not like you're just gonna stumble on something and just instantly die from radiation. I mean, that's probably kind of an obvious statement, but it's gonna give you a, it's getting worse hint. As Geiger counters do. Not everything in the world is pick-upable or interactable, but most stuff is. So let's just walk around here. There's tons of hidden little things in the world, so definitely be looking for things. If something looks weird, go and look at it, and put your little cursor over it, or your aiming reticle over it, because it might be something. You might be pleasantly surprised and find a secret vault or something. So if it looks weird, go check it out. Don't jump off stuff. You will get hurt. You will break legs and take damage. This is the Earth. We do have gravity, and it can hurt you, as I tend to see at work almost 20 times a week. You can jump. Again, that's going to be probably A on your controller, I think. Things are interactable. You can see times moving. It's getting darker. Stars are already coming out. Pretty cool. Comes the moon. Sun's already down over there. You can check out cars and stuff. Some of them are interactable and openable. Oh, perfect. Okay, lower left corner. Please note on our compass we have a red mark. Red mark means a baddie. That's a confirmed bad guy. It's not going to be someone you're going to want to walk up to and talk, because it's not even going to give you the time of day. So anytime you see a blip that's red down there on your compass, that is the location of a bad something. There's also green. Green ones are either neutral or good people, or people that aren't, basically they're things that aren't going to shoot you on first sight or try to chew your face off. So you'll have green and you'll have red. You might even have blue as well. I think blue is also friendly, if I recall right. But alright, what I did here. So you saw that rat just coming right up my butt here. He wasn't going to give any thoughts to, finding out what's going on. He's coming in for the kill. I went into VAT mode, and again, you're going to learn that control when you start the game. So whatever, I think it's X. No, maybe it's Y. But